you do not belong here, do you? You are a child of the sky, of the earth, of the air. Human. Are you still called that? Strange to see one of you down here. It's been eons since we've had a child of the sky in Atlantis. You don't look how I thought that you would. Interesting. A fair question. A child of the air needs air to breathe, don't they? So how are you breathing here in Atlantis? Well, it's not easy, but with the use of magic, there are certain things that we can do to make you a bit more comfortable. How is my speaking, by the way? It has been a very long time since I've had to use a spell to learn a new language. Good. As long as you can understand me, and I can understand you, I suppose that's all that's necessary. You don't look like the stories that I've heard. The stories of sailors, shipwrecked, who find their way here accidentally. And you also don't look like the stories of the hunters who come seeking treasure, fame, perhaps. You don't look like them either. So what is it that brought you to this place, child of the sky? What is that word? I'm not able to translate that one. Archaeologist. I see. And what exactly does an Archaeopteryx do? Archaeologist. So you're an explorer. And a historian. A historian explorer. Fascinating. Tell me, are there many children of the sky with this profession? You must be considered quite special, then, by your kind. Oh. Well, clearly, if you are a historian explorer, you must be a good one. didn't you? The lost land of Atlantis. We know the stories, you see, the stories told about the kingdom of Atlantis that fell in a single day and night. You children of the sky really are very dramatic. It wasn't quite that quickly. You love to tell stories, though. You tell stories about us, too. What is the term that you use for us? Mermaid. Mer-people. Yes, yes. Interesting. I don't think what we call ourselves would translate. You may refer to us as children of the sea, if you would like. It's a bit more profound sounding in our language, but I don't think that it would sound that way to you. So which of the stories do you adhere to about mer people? Are we demonic, seductive monsters who lure sailors in with our beauty only to destroy them? Are we spirits of the water, simply trying to protect what it is that you so often destroy? Are we naiads? Are we sprites? Are we sirens? Are we evil? Are we scorned spirits who drown at sea? Or are we an embodiment of the sea itself? What would you say, historian explorer? That seems like a very vague answer. But I suppose if you seek to learn, it is good to keep an open mind. None of those stories really have it right, you know. But enough about me. We have to decide what is going to happen to you. My father is having quite a heated discussion with his advisors about what should be your fate. See, it is possible to keep you alive down here using the magic of the water. Some believe that we could learn much from you. I have to admit I am terribly curious. See, we hear certain stories, tales of old. Sometimes there are creatures who traverse both the sea and the land, keep us a bit informed. But I'm sure that you could tell us all kinds of interesting things, child of the sky. Especially if you are a historian, explorer. So we could keep you alive to learn from you. Although it does take quite a lot of magical power to keep you breathing, to keep you from being crushed from the weight of the water above you. You children of the sky may be quite durable on land, but in our realm, you are certainly very fragile. So there are those who believe that the energy that we would have to use to keep you alive perhaps is not worth it for what you might teach. For the ways of the children of the sky are strange to us, and our privacy is very important. So there are those on his council who think we should just kill you now and be done with it. I really am leaning more towards learning from you. Maybe let you go. That was not an option that I mentioned, was it? No, I'm afraid that that is going to be quite out of the question. You see, as I said, our privacy, our secrecy, our way of life is something that we put quite a lot of effort into preserving. If you, historian, explorer, went back to your children of the sky and recounted where you found us and what you learned, that there is not just a kingdom under the sea, but living and thriving with children of the sea, this place would be teeming with your kind. We cannot have that. There is a reason that the city of Atlantis is a legend. Because we don't want you here. You mean us no harm, really. Well, you children of the sky are quite capable of causing harm, even when it is not what you intend, isn't it? It seems in all of the eons that we've been down here, you have still not learned. Well, I suppose that's not entirely true. You are actually quite a fascinatingly innovative species. You learn quite a lot, I'm sure. But there is one lesson that apparently still has not been learned by your kind. And that is when to leave things alone. You always have to know, don't you? And unfortunately, maybe not all of you, but there will always be children of the sky who simply wish to know so that they can take, so that they can poison, drain the life from places like this. are so few realms on the land that are still sacred, that still adhere to the old magic, that still possess that innate, beautiful power that haven't been touched by you. We wish to keep this one untouched. So I'm afraid that releasing you is, unfortunately, out of the question. We cannot risk you revealing our home. What good to me is the word of a child of the sky? I have your word that you won't tell. Well, then I suppose you have my word that you won't be leaving. You know, there are perhaps other options to your fate, besides being killed or being kept like a pet made to perform. I could simply just extract your essence, see how powerful you have become. You see, even though you children of the sky mostly do not believe in magic, there is still magic somewhere inside of you, somewhere in your soul. At least there used to be. It might be suppressed now, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's still in there somewhere. Perhaps we could extract it. No, it wouldn't kill you per se. It would just make you a little bit sleepy, I suppose. Now, someone who is less skilled at extraction, then I suppose it might not be a very pleasant fate for you. But I happen to be one of the best. My essence is actually running quite low. I try not to take from the innocent creatures of the ocean, but every once in a while it is a necessity. As I said, I do not kill for my essence, but it is a necessity for us to maintain our way of life. I do wish that I could show you the rest of our beautiful kingdom. There is much to see beyond these walls, beyond just the ruins that you see through the window. There is much that a historian explorer might find enjoyable. Unfortunately, that is out of the question. Not because you could escape from me. If you tried to, then, well, unfortunately, if you get too far away from me, the magic that is helping you breathe would cease to work, so I don't think either of us want that. You know, I can't show you physically, but perhaps with a bit of imagination you could still see it. Let me see. This will actually be a very good indication as to whether or not you do still have some magic in your soul. If I hold this up for you, what do you see? Yes, it is a glass ball. But do you see anything else? Look closer. And try not to look just with your eyes or with your mind, but look with your imagination. Still nothing. Perhaps that magical ability needs a bit of coaxing. I have an idea. Maybe we should try a little bit of this. This is a very small vial of water from the Enchanted pools. Yes, even underwater, it is still possible to have pools. Not naturally, of course, unless they are very, 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 very dense water. Not actually good to swim in, but with the help of some magic, some loving energy, especially when the water itself is teeming with a life of its own, certain things can be made possible. Perhaps a drop of this. It's an incredibly powerful substance, one that we use all the time to enhance magical abilities, especially in the young who are just learning how to harness the water magic. Perhaps it would help to awaken your own abilities. I think you are capable. If you were to have the proper help, and if you were to believe in yourself. Very often, if a creature only believes what they can see with their eyes, then they might not be able to actually do magic. You do have to believe, at least a little bit. But with a drop from the Enchanted pools in this heart of Atlantis, maybe it's possible. Hold out your tongue if you would like to try. Just a drop. That's all it'll take. Interesting that it did seem to have an effect. The voices, oh yes, they're always here. Those are the spirits of the Atlanteans, the original ones at least. I said that it was a bit dramatic to say Atlantis fell in a single day and night. It's not entirely true, but there was unfortunately quite a catastrophic event. They really had no one to blame but themselves, unfortunately. They were like you, children of the sky, who loved to learn. Progress, power, riches beyond imagining, those were all very, very common in the city of Atlantis. king, King Atlas, he was actually supposedly the son of the god Triton. And his father blessed him with gifts of the sea. But unfortunately, the king was not satisfied with that. He became proud, arrogant, really. He became greedy and ungrateful. And unfortunately, the kingdom of Atlantis followed his lead. They forgot the ways of water magic. They forgot where their blessings had come from. And they started to take and poison and destroy. And unfortunately, the gods couldn't stand for that. So Atlantis didn't stand for much longer. It's quite a sad story. I don't wish to discuss it in depth, but let that be a lesson that pride is often the downfall of children of the sky. But yes, these voices, can you actually hear what they're saying? Interesting. They do seem to be quite a bit louder around you. Perhaps they're taking pity on you. A fellow child of the sky, fallen to Atlantis. Well, they can't help you, unfortunately. But maybe, now that we've awoken a little more of your magical awareness at the very least, maybe I can show you my kingdom. Let's see what you can see in here now. What shall I show you first? How about this? Can you see it? This is the field of pearls. That's what we call it anyway. Not pearls that we steal for riches and power, but pearls that we graciously accept as a gift to use in our magic to keep us safe. See, pearls have a beautiful, pure energy to them. An energy that can help protect the borders of Atlantis from threats. That's another reason that I want to keep you alive. Because if you were really that much of a threat, you would not have been able to find your way here, or even gotten close. What would you like to see next? Oh, I know. How about the amphitheater? Do you see it? A beautiful stage made of pure coral. Not the coral that you have perhaps seen before, but coral that is untouched and thriving. You are not the only species who likes their stories. The amphitheater is one of our favorite places to hear the tales of old, to learn new tales. Perhaps there will be a tale of yous there someday. Maybe not. I suppose we'll see what my father and his advisors decide. I suppose I could try to persuade them one way or the other. Generally, I'm thought to be too young to be in the meetings of the advisors. Though in my opinion, some of the advisors are far too old to actually be in touch with the Atlanteans, but perhaps that's just my youth speaking. Perhaps in a few more 100 years, he will allow me in to the chambers of the advisors. That look of longing in your eyes. Not something that I am unfamiliar with. You know, perhaps there is something that I could do. But I would have to know beyond a shadow of a doubt who you really are. Would you allow me to look at you? Not in that sense. This way of looking is far more intense, I suppose. But it would help me to see you as you truly are. Will you allow me? Right. Your soul does not match the stories we are told. Perhaps there is more to the children of the sky than the elders tell us. Or maybe you're an exception. Alright. I will let you go. But before I do, I'm going to have to take away your memory of this place. I'm sorry. It's the best I can do. I still have my people to think of. The children of the sea. Well, we've lived unscathed for so long. A conflict with your people. I don't think it would just be bad for us. And we are very, very numerous. The lost city of Atlantis is not the only place that we inhabit. This world that you and I share, the majority of it is the sea. Just a thought. It would save both of our people much pain and loss if I take your memories before you leave. Perhaps I could leave a very mild version of your memories. It would feel like a dream, but you would never really know if it was real or not. As I said, that's the best I can do. That is my offer. Take it, or leave it. Wise choice. You will have to make sure that you cannot find your way here again, especially if you come with others. Because while your soul may be pure, historian, explorer, that does not mean that all children of the sky would feel the same. That's also not to say that there are not children of the sea who would seek to harm or take advantage of you. I am not so disillusioned to believe that all of us are perfect and all of you are monsters. There is good in you, just as there is bad in us. Either way, as the future ruler of this city, I must put my people and their safety first. I hope you understand. Good. Let's see. We'll need some forgotten milkweed. That will be the most simple way of doing it, I think. Forgotten milkweed. It's a beautiful plant of the sea. A very magical one as well. It's used generally to help relieve the pain and suffering of victims of horrible things, or even if someone experienced great pain. This can help them forget, not that it happened, but forget some of the pain. Generally, we just use a very small amount. For you, it's going to be a little bit more, to make sure that you forget almost everything. To make sure that you forget enough to never return. Because if you do, I cannot promise that I will be able to get you out of here again. If you were ever to return, they would probably never let me near you again. I'm going to have some very severe consequences. But from one soul to another, I'll take the risk. But it is time for you to forget. No, you don't have to do anything for this. You might hear the spirits get a little louder, a little more jumbled, I suppose. But all I need to do is just brush this over you. It's probably also going to make you feel a little tired. I'll have to get you out of here myself. Make sure that you are somewhere safe and far away from here. Somewhere that when my magic wears off, you will be able breathe. Perhaps close to the surface. Were you here in a ship, a vessel of some kind, with other historian explorers? I see. The spirits have offered to help locate your vessel, so that I can return you there, or thereabouts, where you will be discovered. And when you awaken, safe upon your vessel, this will be very little more than a dream. Your vision is likely starting to fade now. You can try to resist if you wish, I suppose, but forgotten milkweed is very powerful. It will win out in the end. I'm glad that we have met, historian, explorer. You may forget this encounter, but I will not. If there are more children of the sky like you, perhaps someday there could be peace once more between our people. Maybe. Perhaps not in your lifetime, but maybe in mine.